Forgive me for the interpretation, for the translation, but it is rather difficult to follow. I usually say hello in Greek. Though being the mayor of Rhodes and also the president of 34 municipalities of South Aegean, that is 50 islands and 34 municipalities, 34 mayors, I am very proud of welcoming you in Rhodes. Future will either be green or there will be no future at all. Sustainability is not a choice. It is a necessity emerging from the hard truth of numbers. Up to 2050, we expect increase of the world population to 10 billion. The need of use of natural resources will be tripled and energy consumptions will be increased by 50%. Green Deal responds to the necessity targeting at climate neutrality, namely net greenhouse gas emissions to 2050. The transition to the gradually cleaner energy mix with effective use of renewable natural resources has a strategic significance for the implementation of the agreement. The European islands can play a leading role in this direction. The disadvantage of insularity might be covered to an advantage and opportunity, as under the appropriate circumstances, it can function as an incentive of sustainable development based on the local natural advantages and adapted to character of its local economy. We, in Rhodes, in South Aegean, in Greece, have planned a targeted course of sustainability by highlighting fair practices on a series of great issues such as recycling and energy use of garbage and waste in a context of a circular economy, energy-saving investment in renewable energy sources, promotion of electromobility. In this momentum, it is essential to highlight practices that will affirm citizens that the European targets are feasible and safeguard a sustainable future for everyone. In Rhodes, in particular, we have a very clear vision. Its destination as the first sustainable tourism destination worldwide through big-scale partnership with the region of South Aegean, a private sector such as the World Tourist Group of TUI, as well as with the accession of the municipality of Rhodes to the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. As Rhodes plays a leading role to the activities for a green future, I believe that it is the ideal location for the hosting of works of clean energy of EU Islands Forum 2022. It is a great pleasure and honor to Rhodes to host the works of such a significant event and will spread knowledge, technique, and experience for the attainment of our targets. I would like to welcome in Rhodes the European Energy Commissioner Kadri Simpson, digitally, Minister of Energy and Environment Kostas Skrekas, who had the chance to meet in Tilos 4 days ago, dear colleagues, representative European islands, as well as the distinguished participants of the works of the Forum. In view of the extent of worldwide uncertainties emerging from the escalating consequences of climate change, the difference between success and failure is determined by our ability to protect our environment, fortifying economy at the same time. The great bet is the change of example, and the European islands can prove that we can do it, we can win in the extent that it will be embraced and become concern of all European island citizens through the application of smart procedures and financial tools that will create value for the environment and economy of the local society and community. Thank you very much. I wish you a creative and pleasant stay in our island of Rhodes. Please excuse my English. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. Wow, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And again, we're very happy to be here. And the challenge of sustainable tourism that you pointed out is indeed a very big one. I had the pleasure in the last months to visit some islands, look at energy transition projects, and indeed, it always strikes me with, the pleasure of being on an island for tourism, and the ecological footprint of it is really something we would want to tackle. So thank you for that. What you just saw is one of the examples of cooperation all over Europe. You saw islands, Portugal, the Netherlands, Italy, French Polynesia, and Greece working together on finding solutions for a 100% decarbonized island with uninterrupted electricity provision. So this is one of the examples. We'll have more during the next days. Now, we will now have a video again from a member of the European Parliament, and I would say one of the founding fathers of the Clean Energy for EU Island initiative and of European cooperation amongst islands. The MEP Tonino Picula is from a Croatian island. He's been active obviously in Croatia, but for a long time he's been in the European Parliament, and he's now chair of the Syrica intergroup, which groups a number of parliamentarians from all political groups who work together to make to get attention for the situation of the islands and to promote policies and actions for the European islands. And so Tonino, again, because of all things happening, could not be here, but we're happy that he can nevertheless dedicate a few words to us.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Commissioner Simpson, Honorable Minister Skrekas, distinguished speakers and guests. It's my great honor to greet you all at the Clean Energy for EU Islands Forum opening. After we started our journey with the first forum in Crete, it's remarkable that today the event is back in Greece. Even though I'm greeting you via video message, I'm pleased that you managed to meet in person after 2 years of pandemics. I want to start by commending everyone from the Secretariat, Commission, and you, dear islanders, for making another island forum a reality. Over the years, European Parliament held the torch for islands and launched initiatives such as pilot projects that started the process of islands' energy transition. Together we worked to leave a mark on all legislative texts in responsible committees, including islands. We also organized numerous events, meetings, and exchanges with many relevant stakeholders. Provisions inserted into the Just Transition Fund or the report on cohesion policy and islands are good examples. We see the specific movements in the right direction. Islands are no longer side policy. They are becoming more and more mainstream policy. However, we also need to be frank and say that there is much work ahead of us. As long as we do not see challenges in insularity fully addressed in all of the relevant EU policy proposals, we have to continue our activities. Of course, Russian aggression in Ukraine changed many things. It's making us all even more aware of vulnerabilities of our security and our economies. It also shows our overdependence on energy imports and supply chains in general. The solidarity wave across the EU and globally, the EU joint response and commitments, as well as commitments of the member states, are unprecedented. We stand united in the most challenging times, and this crisis has proven it once again. Our response was also proof of choosing political decisions ahead of economic ones, after many years of politics based mainly on economic factors and interests. By adopting the sanctions, we also prioritized security and self-sufficiency over efficiency. with rising prices and inflation that might stay a more permanent feature in the economy. The sanctions cost Russia, but cost the European Union too, especially given the energy overdependence that often prevented us on the EU level from having a more direct stance on the Russia. To counter it, we need to boost our production, secure supply chains, and support greater industrial and energy independence. We should also establish a solidarity mechanism at EU level to address economic and social consequences of the current crisis. All of the process that we started with the Green Deal must be accelerated with more funding. I believe that all of the green transition process that we started have to be upgraded and not halted. They must be accelerated with more funding. Coming back to the theme of the forum, from clean energy vision to clean energy action, I could not agree with it more. With the Clean Energy for EU Islands initiative, we had a clean energy vision for islands to be showcased in the energy transition in Europe. I'm proud to see this initiative growing and developing further. However, now is when the islands can also lead in clean energy action. I do hope that the new legislative proposals of the Commission on the Repower EU that we expected to be present this week will reflect our ambition. It should provide guidelines and support the legislative framework for clean energy action. I also hope for specific budget lines for islands in the future legislative proposals, as proven possible already in just transition funds. To conclude, who, if not islanders, are better to show how to turn natural, often scarce resources in a sustainable lifestyle? It's the essence of their existence on islands. Even when natural resources are plenty, technology for using them and storing them is missing. Furthermore, regulatory burden to start with the projects is often too high. There is not enough administrative capacity on the islands to do it too. This is why we need three crucial things. First, adequate funding for all scale projects. Second, adequate technical assistance that Secretariat is also providing, but with more extensive support on the national and local level. And finally, third, adequate investment into research and innovation that will create replicable solutions and ease transition for everyone. But even the best solutions can gain value only by sharing between different stakeholders, islands, and countries. This is where I see the crucial role of the Island Secretariat. I wish to congratulate them for extending significantly the number and the geographical balance of the islands that are active in the clean energy transition with their support. With gratitude to work of the Island Secretariat over the years, we have a clear picture of the challenges and how to address them. Now it's time to transform vision into action with sufficient financial support. Islands have already shown that they can lead the way in energy transition and be showcased for the rest of Europe. I'm convinced this can be applied in other aspects of their development. As new challenges are emerging, we will need to stand united and work together to keep what we have achieved and upgrade it. Let's continue with the good work. I wish you excellent 2 days of your program in Rhodes, and you can count on my full support. Thank you.
And we definitely thank the MEP Picula for his support over the years. I think, as he pointed out, the war that Russia began in Ukraine cannot be underestimated for the whole of Europe, but also not for the islands. It is a dramatic situation, a tragic situation in Ukraine, but will be felt all over Europe through the energy system. And so the acceleration, he pointed out, is really needed, and that's what we will work on. And I guess you all noted the call for a separate budget line for the islands in the European budget. So I guess the MEP will work on that in the European Parliament, and it's something that could help the islands. Many countries have already done so with the Recovery and Resilience Fund, making special funds for the islands, and I think it is important that the investment is flowing. Now, he also pointed to research and innovation, and it's something we, as a Secretariat, take very seriously. We find it very important to be connected and to be in touch with all the research and development and innovation actions that are going on in the islands, and there's many, and you will see more during the days. And we also find it important to make a link with education, because the clean energy transition is not only about technology, it's also about social skills, it's about learning how to adapt our economies, our lives to the new climate and security urgency. And that's why we are very grateful that we have here amongst us the rector of the University of the Aegean, Ms. Chrysi Vitsilaki. She will speak to us about what the university is doing. And before I give her the floor, you will also notice, and amongst us, there are students from the university here, there's teachers from the university here, and so please interact, discuss amongst each other, because we can all learn from each other, and we're very happy that the research and education community of Rhodes also came on board for our event. I give you the floor.
The most important thing that I want to say is that, as you very well noted, the innovation strategy of the EU, which is indeed the power that brings forth the formation of our policies, the implementation, and the study of the consequences as well as the causes, is the concept in REES, which is the quadruple helix, as you know. We need to bring together the government, and we already saw 3 representatives of the European, the national, and the local government. The businesses, which are the ones that are adapting technology, that are the ones creating the infrastructural means to go forth. We have the academic pillars, which and the research institutions, which are the ones that are producing knowledge and the new knowledge. And we have the community that usually we forget. Unless all of these actors are together in play, we cannot really either assess or change toward the better the environment that we live in. It is clear from the understanding that we had about the climate change that we needed to do things. But other interests always seem to come ahead. The Ukrainian crisis clearly created an emergency and a crisis during which we understand that the only thing we can do is to turn a crisis into an opportunity. I was very glad to hear that tomorrow we will hear a new package about energy and the use of energy and clean energy, because we need to protect, not only deal with the requirements of our societies, but we need to do it in a way that will secure that the next generations will be there. So green, and as we say at the University of the Aegean, green and blue, because we have not yet adopted it enough, but this is where our research and our technologies are going. We are here, more than anything else, to say the universities, and particularly a rare university such as the University of the Aegean, is here to join hands with you academically, research-wise, in terms of our presence on islands and our better understanding from inside as to what is happening and how we can best help the communities to go forth. As you can tell, we are one of the rare universities in the world which is located on 6 islands. We begin from the most northern part of the Aegean, from Limnos, Lesbos, which is the administrative head of the university. We go further down, just going forth. sorry. We go further down to Chios, to Samos, to Rhodos, and to the Cyclades, to Syros. Each one of these islands is an example of how different communities and societies are, and our insular features. As a university has already embedded in us the problems that a community raises, and indeed an academic environment raises. But nonetheless, as we managed to survive while the winds and the waves hit the shores, we have created wonderful academic ports of studies and research. We have created an academic environment for ourselves and for our communities, as well as the global representatives of the academia that come to join us, of course in a novel and wonderful environment that most of the world wants to visit. The important characteristic that I will only stay at is the interdisciplinarity that most of our departments. While we have the first department of environmental studies in Greece, and for decades it was the only one, we realized that you cannot just study specific parts of the environment. You need to study through multiple disciplinary lens, approach the problem so that you can isolate it, seek solutions scientifically, and try and persuade and change the hearts and minds of the people who need to participate, otherwise it's all useless, into protecting the environment, into promoting clean energy, among other things. As you saw geographically, these are just the numbers, and this will be at your disposal. I don't need to take more of your time. It's a big university, you can tell, with all of the faculty studies that we have and the different islands, you can just have a look at how the university is indeed interdisciplinary, and almost all of our departments in their interdisciplinary aspect have inside the three major axes of the European policy, and especially of the new strategy that we are pursuing, which is green, and I will keep insisting, and blue, which is digital, and which is inclusive. And unless we see it all together in a more holistic way, we can use the specialization of particular research and of particular fields of study, but we need to put it all together and work together in order to make it work. We already have 3 departments in which a very important work is being done on environments, so that you can look it up and see people working on it and other people that you can collaborate with. We have a great number of, as you saw, master's programs. All of these touch upon sustainability, and many of them very focused on the Greek energy and indeed the Greek energy transition. I can only give examples apart from our departments. This is in the northern Aegean project that is going on. You will hear more about these things. We have summer schools. What a better place in the world to do academic and research work and study than summer schools on the islands. And we run this very many years now on the island of Lesbos on sustainability. We have a grand number of research projects that are both at the local level and on the international level. Tomorrow you will hear more about the particular project that is quite important. A very important experience that brings together what I've just been saying, and that I personally got involved in along with our big research team, was how a transition can be made in an island like Astipalea. If you have noticed, in the Aegean Sea, wonderful things are happening because it is European policy, Greek national policy, and regional policy. In Astipalea, it was a big enough island when we went to electric movement to start doing a study. We worked with Volkswagen to start assessing people's readiness, the community's readiness to adopt the policy that was being pursued. You can understand, as I said, nothing can go ahead unless people are interested and persuaded. And of course, in especially bigger islands, or as in bigger communities, you have many more contradicting interests on the part of the people. You have the businesses, you have the people that don't have enough of a socioeconomic environment to understand what they need to do. So none of this clean energy as any other aspect of energy production or energy consumption, and of course finding alternative means and lessening, decreasing systematically the use cannot be done unless we can convince the people and unless we can follow again the European strategy of upskilling and reskilling, and at the same time sensitizing the local communities. And as I said, merge all of this with technology, with the governments, with the businesses. There are many more examples that I can discuss with you, how a university that really has grown roots on the islands and opens and sustains wings with international collaborations. There does a lot of work on it, but it is important to understand that we all, from very different fields, from very different positions, from very different capacities, we need to work together to understand our people and their needs, to know the new technologies and means and products that are being created to support the clean energy transition and sustainability overall, and work with each other, of course, with the policies of the government and the finances of both European and national stakeholders in order to make this world better, Europe better, and our islands better. I remain at your disposal, and I thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for that. I do regret that the University of the Aegean was not on my radar when I had to choose an Erasmus destination. But what yeah, we can always go back to study. And as the Rector has said, wonderful things are going on the islands in terms of research, innovation, projects that are being set up, and this is also an occasion, for those amongst you who are active in these projects, to establish the links and foster the cooperation. So we're also offering you this platform to do this and liaise, and perhaps next time you team up together for some interesting research projects sponsored by Horizon or by others.